For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore shall he not spare in the day of vengeance. Now, not only is this pertaining to the Lord and the great winepress and his coming judgment, but this is also pertaining to things in the natural with relationships and different things like that. Being a man or a woman, we wouldn't want, our person to be cheating on us, communicating to other people about us, different things like that. And we wouldn't want, to be publicly embarrassed. We wouldn't want to be a lot of different things pertaining to a relationship that brings on the natural emotion of jealousy. And we have to understand that jealousy is justified. There's a time and place for everything. That's the reason why crimes of passion at times, the person can get just a slap on the wrist because, people understand that that is a natural emotion, especially when you realize that people have been misleading another person, and how you can see how that emotion can bring forth certain actions that a person wouldn't normally partake in. But in that instance, like I said, it's referring to the Most High, and he's going to be intentional with the great wine press and different things. And so it's important that, we're not a part of that. But understand that jealousy is a natural thing to have, whether male or female. We don't want our partners doing certain things. That's why communication is important. Relationships are examples of our relationship with God. I heard a pastor say this months ago, and so, a relationship with your earthly father could be an example of your relationship with your heavenly father. Not saying necessarily that those things have to be the same, but it could give a foreshadowing or an example of how you would treat your heavenly father. And so, it's important to pay attention to relationships and understand, be mature enough to understand that certain emotions are natural, jealousy and different things. As I said, that's the reason why crimes of passion, different people get off for different things. And so it's okay to feel certain things, but it's how we handle those emotions as well. Jealousy can become a toxic thing to where now, because certain things have happened in the past to you, you could be inflicting pain on other people, or you don't want other people to experience joy or happiness and different things like that. So you try to sabotage different things for them. You try to do different things. And so we have to understand that certain emotions are natural. God feels angry. He feels jealousy. He cries. He's happy. I'm sure he laughs. I know some people might not feel like that, but God definitely laughs. But we have to understand it's natural to feel all these different feelings, but to understand that it's a time and there is a place for everything, and that you have to handle everything with maturity. If either person in a relationship is seeking counsel outside of each other, then that relationship can be tainted, because now you're getting outside information about a person who you're supposed to be locked in with. The Bible helps us to lock in with the Most High God, because we can have an idea of God, we can have a perception of who God is, but until we get into his will, and that's also living right, but understanding his will more importantly, because you can have certain things about you that are good qualities, but not understanding his will, his written will put you at a disadvantage in understanding in many different ways. And so it's important to understand his written will and to come in a covenant with it. Understand, as I said, jealousy is the rage of a man. And so certain emotions, when it's mature and it's done at the right time, are very valid and they're justified. I think in another place it says about how, a man could, I think the Bible even speaks on crimes of passion, about a man taking another man's life because of that reason. In instances, there's justification depending on the motive, depending on what's actually going on. And so I understand we have to be spiritually mature with dissecting emotions and different things like that, and be able to also understand how these different things show us different characteristics of God, because we are created in the image of God, and God expresses himself through his people. And there's different expressions, but we have to understand we all go through these natural emotions of jealousy, love, different things like that. But it's how you handle these things that determines how the relationship stands. Peace.